want to take a moment to connect two different threads in the frame-making sale that might, initially feel sort of completely independent from one another, but actually are deeply and distinctly related. The first is something we talk about in chapter one, which is the single biggest driver of a high quality, low regret deal by far is the degree to which customers are confident not in you, but in themselves to make a high quality to make a high quality decision across their organization, right? And so it comes down to things like how confident are we that we even ask the right questions in the first place? How confident are we that we've done sufficient research? How confident are we that we've thoroughly explored all the alternatives? And one of the interesting things about that list of attributes that describes customers' decision confidence that leads to your growth is the fact that not a single one of them has an objective finish line. Which questions are the right questions? How much research is sufficient? What does thorough mean if we thoroughly examine alternatives? And so one of the things that we take out of this is really interesting is that the single biggest driver of a high quality deal is based not on what customers know, but based on what customers feel. Because you can't know these things. You can't know which questions are right. You only have to believe it. You have to feel it. These things are subjective, right? And so, we spend all of our time and all these years helping our sellers, helping ourselves get better, getting our customers to know something. But sort of interestingly, the single biggest driver of high quality, low regret deal is helping our customers feel something and feel specifically confident that those are the right questions, that research was sufficient, that the alternatives examined was thorough, their examination was thorough, sufficiently thorough. And so that becomes really interesting is that sure, we need our customers to know something, but the big missed opportunity, the thing where many of us are walking past is specifically engaging customers to help them feel something, and specifically feel something not about us, like, wow, I love you or I trust you, but to feel something about themselves. Wow, I trust myself. All right, so that's thread number one. Thread number two is that particularly in the last about 5 or 6, 7 years, there's been a growing amount of momentum in sales, and maybe it's been there forever, probably has, around curiosity. That we need to do a better job of being curious about our customers, about their company, about their business model, so that when we show up to customers, we can ask more informed questions, or maybe we even allows us to do better research up front so we can come to them with hypotheses and answers. I think we'd all agree that is critically important, and one of these sort of skills or talents that you want to see in sellers is a deep level of curiosity, because it's just going to help them engage better. However, I think the thing that's interesting here, and that we talk about in chapter 7 in the Framemaking Sale, is curious about what specifically. Because I think, again, there's a big missed opportunity here, not just about being curious or not being curious, but curious about what. Because if we go back to our first point, which is, that at the end of the day, what's really driving a high quality, low regret deal isn't so much what customers know, but what customers feel, then it stands to reason one of the things we probably want to be curious about is how customers feel right now, to be curious about emotions, to be curious about the feelings associated with complex decisions. And if that sounds either weird or touchy-feely, it's actually incredibly practical, right? So to understand, where do customers stand right now? Are they feeling frustrated? Are they feeling excited? Are they feeling, overwhelmed? Or are they feeling, sort of intrigued? Because if you can find these things out, then you can sort of mirror those emotions. And there's things, and this whole idea of mirroring becomes a really powerful idea here. But at the very least, we can also use this to sort of guide those emotions, help them feel what we want to feel. It's like, one of the things we find customers really struggle with, can be really frustrating, is this. So I can help you sort of think about this feeling. So, but there's one company and specifically that we talked to that found a way around that frustration that was incredibly helpful. So in other words, as I share this frame making advice, I am loading it up with the emotions that are going to mirror how customers feel and how they aspire to feel. And this isn't some sort of trick or Jedi mind trick, right? It's actually incredibly powerful because it's allowing you to make a better, deeper human connection. So one of the things that I think we want to really sort of reinforce as we go forward in talking to customers is just be curious about how that feels. So I literally, in my case, I do this all the time. I'll ask the leaders I talk to, is that frustrating, or is it, man, that's got to feel kind of frustrating? Because, I talk to a lot of customers who find that to be really frustrating. Is that frustrating for you too? And you'll find that actually that opens up this whole new conversation. Wow, that's, you're 3 months in seat. I got to imagine that's a little overwhelming, a little exciting all at the same time. So I will just very proactively and almost aggressively put emotions onto the table just so I can watch people react to them. I don't have to be right, but I do want to have a spark. No, actually I feel pretty good about it. Okay, that's good. Mental note that they feel good about this. Or mental note that's like, oh, Brent, you have no idea. Okay, mental note, they feel really overwhelmed. And as I can sort of capture these emotions that customers are feeling because I'm curious about those emotions, and I legitimately am because we're human beings. And it's really interesting to see how other human beings experience the world around them, including the experience of leadership and decision making, because then I can actually I can take that information in and use it as part of my talk track to make a deeper, better connection, not in a cynical way, but in a very deeply human way. Because I think you're going to find not only does it help you sort of build a better connection to your customer, it helps you to actually build a better connection to your customer as a human being. And it turns out to be just much more rewarding and gratifying in helping them because you've helped them not only do something different, you've helped them feel better about that decision. And that's pretty powerful and exciting.